many pieces of art that we've studied this semester have conveyed the themes of both poverty and wealth. These themes are often displayed in a very subliminal way. However, they can also be very blatant. Throughout the course, we have learned to analyze the ways to detect these underlying themes and have chosen 10 pieces that we believe display both poverty and wealth. Alan Caprow's artwork Yard shows a sense of lower-class living. He wanted people to experience his artwork by walking through it to get a feeling of waste and death. Caprow uses beat-up tires and rubbish to symbolize poverty. The yard could represent many problems people living in poverty have had and the hardships that they face. Caprow portrays lower-class families jumping through hoops to make ends meet. The chaotic setting shows the bumpy roads that these people must go through. And this installation, showing general disarray, leads the audience to believe that the lower class is impoverished, chaotic, and disorganized. By comparison, Campbell's Soup Cans by Andy Warhol shows wealth. The richer we get, the more we conform. As money becomes less of a problem, other issues arise. Holding up a certain image becomes very important and our lives become more materialistic. Warhol shows the power of the brand and how variety creates confusion. Ultimately, this image insinuates that having Campbell's in your household is how you know you've made it in America, and depicts how brands create wealth. Georges Seurat's A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte is a painting of many people enjoying their Sunday afternoon on an island close to Paris, France. This island was a place that the middle class would go to relax and enjoy the countryside. The woman on the right is holding a monkey on a leash and is intended to symbolize a courtesan, or a prostitute with wealthy clients. Similarly, the man on the left, closest to the point of view who is smoking a pipe, is a boatman. Evidently, he has a decent amount of wealth to own a boat and enjoy his pipe on a Sunday afternoon. People in the photo are depicted sailing and rowing, activities which are typically experienced by the wealthy. Ultimately, Seurat's depiction indicates the wealthy class leading luxurious lifestyles that are unavailable to the middle class. Paul Gauguin's Where Do We Come From? What Are We? Where Are We Going? Illustrates islanders passing blessings and showing great amounts of spirituality for their daily acts and routines. The text describes how the tropical landscape is dense, lush, and sensuous. Life is languorous and untroubled. Although the islanders may not be wealthy with money or materialistic luxuries, they are rich with happiness and carefree tendencies. They do not stress over material items, which they do not have or need. They are rich and wealthy with the land that they have and the life that they live. In Honor Demure's The Third-Class Carriage, we see numerous workers crammed into a third-class railway car. We also see the somber environment of hard wooden benches in the dark car, as well as the two windows alongside. Contrary, if we were to imagine how a first-class cart may look, we'd most likely picture wide plush seats that would be more comfortable than those of the third class. The text focuses primarily on the family centered in the foreground and describes them as simpler and poorer than the crowd sitting behind them. The difference in poverty and wealth here are very slim. In The Luncheon on the Grass by Edward Manet, we see two men out having a picnic with a woman who is most likely an escort due to the fact that she is naked with such confidence. In the background, we see a woman bathing, and in general, all of the characters seem to be of wealth, enjoying the luxuries and pleasures of having a picnic with a high-class prostitute. We are allowed to see the wealth from these figures mainly by their confidence. If they were to be poor, they would certainly have been made to appear so. Comparing the escort in this piece to Manet's Olympia, we can see the same confidence in both women. Although Olympia is giving us direct eye contact, the woman in the luncheon is still confident enough to be the way she is out there in the open. Furthermore, Edward Manet's painting Olympia describes a reality of contemporary Paris. In that era, many wealthy men kept mistresses and secret prostitutes, and the name Olympia was a common name for a courtesan. As a result, Manet named his painting Olympia in attempts to allude to the wealthy upper-class habit of indulging in prostitutes. The actual painting itself depicts a confident yet uneasy and heartless face. The girl's expressionless face leads the audience to feel a sense of detachment from the upper class that is portrayed in the painting. Gustave Courbet describes the figures in the Stonebreakers with the realities of society. Two workers wear ragged clothes and there's dirt under their nails. These shabby appearances express their poverty and low social class. He painted the workers with the same shade as the stones. Therefore, their faces appear to have no spirit or energy, just as the rocks and tools. In Jacob Riis's photograph, 5 Cent Spot, he used a flash to create a reliable, bare, and spontaneous photograph. By documenting such a plain image, this photo described illegal accommodation in the slums of New York. The image represents how homeless people suffered injustices that the wealthier class was never subjected to. Ultimately, the photo conveys a state of poverty that plagued the underbelly of society. In Avenue du Bois du Boulogne, Lardigue took an exposure of a fashionably dressed woman as an expression of wealth. The woman is performing a relatively mundane task of walking her dog, yet she is dressed to the nines, thus proving that the wealthy class lives on a parallel universe from their impoverished counterparts. These expressions of wealth that are so common in the upper class and so sparse in the lower are customary of the time period. Throughout these images, we are able to see both poverty and wealth. Some images use a more subliminal way to convey their message, while others display the imagery very specifically. While each image depicts a different place and time, the themes of poverty or wealth, or more specifically, the differences in social class, are a constant. The subject matter can be shown in multiple ways and has been used throughout history. While people continue to evolve, both fixing old problems and creating new ones, this eternal theme of social class difference and financial extremes continue to live on.